In the bustling and extravagant city of New York, Alex Donovan was a well-known name. Born into a powerful family, he possessed everything a man could dream of: wealth, status, and a bright future. However, beneath the glossy exterior, his heart still carried the wounds of a lost love. Jenna, the woman he thought he would spend his life with, had left him for another man. And now, upon receiving an invitation to her wedding, Alex felt as if his old wounds were being torn open once again. On that day, the New York sunlight stretched across the streets as Alex walked aimlessly, lost in an old neighborhood where the glittering lights of the city seemed unable to reach. In a corner of the park, he saw a woman with messy black curly hair and worn-out clothes, engrossed in reading a tattered old book. She was a far cry from what he usually encountered in the upper-class circles, yet her resilience and calmness drew him in. This was Nyla, who once had an ordinary life, but unforeseen circumstances had pushed her into homelessness. In a moment of impulsiveness, Alex invited Nyla to be his companion to Jenna's wedding. Initially, she hesitated, unable to comprehend why a wealthy man like Alex would want to take her, a homeless woman, to such an event. But then, captivated by the sincerity in his eyes, Nyla agreed. And so began their unexpected journey. The limousine stopped in front of a high-end fashion boutique where dazzling dresses and tailored suits were displayed behind gleaming glass. The boutique's glass door swung open, and Alex stepped out, extending his hand towards Nyla to lead her inside. Despite feeling a bit awkward in the unfamiliar environment, Nyla tried to maintain her composure. She had never imagined stepping into such luxurious places where each dress on the rack was worth several months' rent. Inside, the soft yellow lights illuminated every detail of the garments. But as soon as the door closed behind them, Nyla sensed an underlying tension in the air. The boutique staff, women with elegant attire and sleek hair, turned to look at them, their eyes sweeping over Nyla with a frown of disapproval. Although they tried to appear polite, their disdain was evident in their gaze. It was a look of suspicion, as if they were wondering why a woman with simple clothes and messy hair dared to set foot in this place. "May I help you?" A staff member approached, her voice sweet yet sharp, her eyes fixed on Nyla's unassuming appearance. Alex maintained a polite smile, though he could sense Nyla's tension as her hands clenched tightly. "We need to find a few dresses for her," he said, gesturing towards Nyla. "The best ones you have." The staff member blinked, as if she couldn't believe her ears. But seeing Alex's determined gaze and the expensive watch on his wrist, she simply nodded. "Of course, right this way," she said, her voice losing some of its sharpness but still laced with skepticism. They led Nyla to an area showcasing elegant evening gowns and dresses. Silk, chiffon, and sparkling beaded dresses hung in rows. Each time Nyla tried on a dress, she felt the scrutinizing gazes of the staff, the whispers they thought she couldn't hear. "What is she doing here?" A low voice echoed from behind the fitting room curtain. "This must be a joke." Nyla tried to remain calm, her hands trembling slightly as she took the next dress from the rack. She told herself that she wasn't here for their harsh judgments, but for herself and for the trust Alex had placed in her. She wanted to prove that she could rise above their prejudice. Finally, after trying on several dresses, she emerged from the fitting room in an emerald green gown that hugged her figure yet exuded elegance. The skirt flowed gracefully, embracing her slender curves, and the color of the dress enhanced her warm brown skin tone. Her naturally curly hair had been styled, becoming softer and shinier, cascading down her shoulders in natural waves. Alex was waiting outside, his eyes widening in surprise as he saw Nyla. He was almost speechless in that moment. He had always seen a hidden beauty in her, a beauty of resilience and unwavering spirit. But now, standing before him was a confident and radiant woman, with an elegance that no dress or hairstyle could mask. You look absolutely beautiful," Alex said, his voice filled with awe and genuine emotion. He reached out his hand, as if afraid she would disappear before his eyes. "You always have, but now, you're glowing." Nyla blushed and lowered her head, but a newfound pride gleamed in her eyes. "Thank you, Alex. Not just for the dress, but for giving me the chance to see myself in a different light." When they returned to the checkout counter, the staff who had previously scorned Nyla now looked at her with different eyes. The change wasn't just due to the stunning dress, but also in the way she carried herself, the way she looked them straight in the eye without hesitation. They might still harbor prejudice in their hearts, but they couldn't deny that Nyla had overcome their judgment with her confidence and dignity. As they stepped out of the boutique, Alex looked back at Nyla, and in his eyes was not only admiration, but also a touch of something akin to emotion. She wasn't just changing outwardly, she was rediscovering her inner strength, and Alex knew he was fortunate to witness this rebirth. Jenna's wedding took place at a luxurious hotel, where glittering crystal chandeliers radiated brilliant light, reflecting off the gold-plated walls and gleaming marble floors. Melodious music filled the air, blending with the cheerful chatter of the guests, creating a warm and joyous atmosphere. Guests adorned in splendid attire, sparkling evening gowns, and elegant suits, all reveled in the extravagant ambience of the celebration. But then, the excitement suddenly subsided as Alex entered with Nyla. All laughter seemed to stop, and the room suddenly fell into a stunned silence. All eyes turned to the couple who had just entered, with expressions on the guests' faces ranging from surprise to curiosity. Nyla's appearance, in an emerald green evening gown that accentuated her radiant brown skin, along with the confidence in each step she took, caused many to pause and stare. Jenna, standing at the head of the reception hall in a pristine white wedding dress adorned with sparkling pearls, her face radiant with happiness, suddenly froze when she saw Alex. Her eyes widened, a flicker of astonishment crossing her face as she saw her ex-lover enter with an unknown woman. Nyla, with her resilient beauty and sharp eyes, was the complete opposite of what Jenna had imagined as the woman who would replace her in Alex's heart. But if Jenna was surprised, the shock of Alex's mother, Patricia, was even more evident. She stood frozen, her hand still holding a champagne flute but not taking another sip. As a powerful woman, always proud of her family's prestigious lineage and high social standing, she couldn't believe her eyes. Her son, Alex, the one she had always hoped would find a suitable partner befitting their status, was walking alongside a black woman, someone of humble origins, appearing at this important event. In the glittering light of the party, the contrast between Alex and Nyla became even more pronounced, like a reminder of the boundary between the two worlds they represented. But as Alex held Nyla's hand, his eyes filled with determination and protectiveness. Unconcerned with the scrutiny or judgment around them, he knew they were facing their first challenge together. The room remained unusually silent until whispers gradually arose, as if people were trying to decipher the story behind this unexpected presence. But despite the prying eyes, Nyla stood firm beside Alex, her head held high, proving that she would not be easily defeated by the prejudice and discrimination here. Despite the scrutinizing gazes and whispers like invisible blades swirling around them, Nyla maintained her composure and pride. She strode among the elegant gentlemen in expensive suits, and the ladies adorned in dazzling evening gowns like stars in the night sky. Each step Nyla took, though initially hesitant, gradually became more steady. She walked with her head held high, her shoulders straight, leaving behind the murmurs and gossip. She knew she didn't belong in this world, but she also decided not to be subdued by the prejudice and judgment of the people here. For her, today was an opportunity to stand up for herself, to show everyone that she was no longer defined by her difficult past. In those moments, Alex quietly observed from behind, his eyes fixed on Nyla's resilient figure. He realized that Nyla was no longer just the companion he had invited to make Jenna jealous. She had surpassed all his initial intentions, becoming someone who had a profound impact on his life, a woman who made him reevaluate himself and the values he once held dear. In Alex's proud eyes, he understood that what he truly sought was not acceptance or admiration from others, but genuine love, a love not obscured by status, wealth, or prying eyes. It was a love that Nyla had helped him realize. As the party finally drew to a close, the flashing lights of the paparazzi surrounded them, trying to capture every moment of this unconventional couple. The murmurs from the other guests continued like a constant hum in the night. But amidst the chaos, Alex and Nyla walked hand in hand, leaving the hotel and all the noise behind. Alex's grip on Nyla's hand was both firm and gentle, a silent promise that he would always be there for her, no matter what challenges lay ahead. Outside, the New York streetlights stretched like endless ribbons of light, illuminating their path forward. In the vast expanse of this city that never sleeps, they embarked on a new journey, a journey of self-discovery and the intertwining of two souls that had once been lost. They spent the following evenings together, not just in conversations about the extravagant and frivolous world Alex was accustomed to, but in heartfelt stories from Nyla about the long, tiring days on the streets, the dreams she had to put aside, and the rare moments she found joy amidst the harsh realities of her life. Alex listened to her with a sincerity he had never felt before. And Nyla, she began to open up, sharing the dreams that had been buried by years of hardship, the hope that had faded in the darkness of homelessness. But now, in Alex's eyes, she felt she could dream again. She no longer felt as alone as she once did, for beside her was a man who had learned to love her not just for her appearance, but for the scars of her past that she had once kept hidden. On those evenings, they sat together on a park bench, gazing at the distant stars in the sky, sometimes silent, but that silence held a sea of emotions. Alex suddenly realized that Nyla had become an indispensable part of his life, the woman who had changed the way he saw the world and himself. He knew their journey wouldn't be easy, but looking into Nyla's deep eyes, he felt ready to face any challenge that lay ahead. And Nyla, as she leaned her head against Alex's shoulder, also felt the warmth and security she had been searching for. However, their relationship faced not only curious glances from outsiders, but also fierce opposition from Alex's own family, especially his mother, Patricia. From the first time she met Nyla, she couldn't hide her displeasure and disappointment. To her, Nyla was not merely a woman from a different background, she was a threat to all the traditional values she had strived to uphold for her family. Dinners became more tense than ever, as Patricia bluntly demanded that Alex end this inappropriate relationship. She didn't hesitate to use sharp words and serious threats, such as cutting off financial support, to make Alex understand, if he chose Nyla, he would have to give up her approval and backing. But she didn't realize that the more she tried to prevent it, the more she pushed her son into confrontation, and made the bond between Alex and Nyla even stronger. The conflict between love and family duty gradually became a silent war between the three of them, where each person was torn between their own emotions and reasoning. Alex stood between two opposing worlds, his heart always drawn to Nyla, who had made him feel the true meaning of love. He had once lived in a superficial world where a person's worth was measured by wealth and status. But since meeting Nyla, he realized that life was not just about lavish parties and million-dollar deals. Nyla's sincere love had shown him a different world, a world where he could be true to his feelings. He wanted to protect that love at all costs. But the pain and torment also constantly plagued him, as he faced strong opposition from the mother he had always respected. Meanwhile, Patricia, Alex's mother, felt as if everything she had built and preserved was crumbling before her eyes. She couldn't accept a woman she considered inferior and unsuitable entering her son's life. She saw Alex's love for Nyla not as sincerity but as youthful impulsiveness or reckless rebellion. Every time she threatened to cut off financial support, her heart ached, but she couldn't abandon her viewpoint. She believed she was protecting Alex from making a mistake, but she didn't realize that her actions were pushing him further and further away. Nyla, despite maintaining a tough and confident exterior, was filled with anxieties and doubts. She knew she didn't come from Alex's world. She understood the differences between them like a high wall, not easily broken. Many nights she lay awake wondering if Alex's feelings for her were strong enough to overcome the pressure from his family. She feared that she was just a means for him to forget the pain of the past, that when the initial excitement faded, he would realize he didn't belong with her. Doubt made her feel small in the face of Alex's love, as if she wasn't worthy of standing beside him in that world of power and privilege. But in those moments of vulnerability, Alex was always there for her. He would look into Nyla's eyes, take her hand, and say with determination in every word, "I don't care what they think. You're the one who helped me realize the true meaning of life, a life not bound by prejudice or wealth." Those words echoed like a beacon in the night, igniting hope in Nyla's heart. She knew Alex was ready to sacrifice everything for this love, and that made her feel her own worth. The inner struggle between love and responsibility, between old values and the freedom to choose, gradually distanced the three of them, but also deepened their understanding of themselves. For Alex, it was a painful sacrifice, but he knew it was the right thing to do. For Patricia, it was a loss, a feeling of losing control over the son she was once so proud of. And for Nyla, it was a feeling of both fear and hope, a hope that love could truly conquer, that she could find her place beside Alex, not just as a fleeting figure in his life, but as a true companion. This struggle had no winners or losers. It only left deep scars in each of their hearts, scars of love, trust, and loss. But at the same time, it was also the fire that tested the love between Alex and Nyla, letting them know that if they could overcome these obstacles together, their love would become stronger than ever. On a cold winter evening, Alex received an unexpected call from the hospital. His mother, Patricia, had suffered a sudden heart attack and was rushed to the emergency room. Alex immediately rushed to the hospital, his heart filled with worry. Nyla went with him, even though she knew her presence there might not be welcome. This unexpected situation seemed to temporarily erase all previous conflicts between them, leaving only anxiety and uncertainty about Patricia's condition. As they waited in the hospital waiting room, Alex sat beside Nyla, his eyes fixed on the emergency room door. The tears he had held back for so long now streamed down his face. I always thought I would have more time to prove to my mother that our relationship wasn't a mistake. I never thought things could get this bad." His voice trembled, filled with regret and fear. Nyla remained silent, only holding his hand tightly, her eyes gentle but equally worried. She understood that no matter how badly Patricia had treated her, she was still Alex's mother, and at this moment, what Alex needed most was her support and comfort. When Patricia woke up after the surgery, her tired eyes softened slightly as she saw Alex sitting beside her. The nurse quietly left the room, leaving the mother and son in private. Patricia managed a weak smile and whispered, "Alex, you don't have to be here. Go home, I'm all right." But Alex only squeezed her hand tighter, replying with determination, "I'm not going anywhere, Mom. I can't leave you now." At that moment, Patricia glanced towards Nyla, who was standing at the doorway with a hesitant and worried look. Although she didn't say it aloud, her eyes still held suspicion and distance. Nyla understood, stepping outside to give them space, but before leaving, she softly said, "Please rest. If you need anything, just call me." Patricia didn't reply, but a hint of surprise flickered in her eyes at Nyla's sincere concern. A few days later, while Patricia was still recovering at home, a massive snowstorm unexpectedly hit. Snow blanketed the city, paralyzing transportation, and the medical team couldn't reach the house to care for Patricia. In this situation, Nyla, who had experience working in harsh environments, decided to take care of Patricia herself. Under the dim light in the cold house, Nyla carefully prepared medication, tucked in blankets, and attended to Patricia with utmost dedication. Patricia remained wary and cautious, but she couldn't deny Nyla's attentiveness and sincerity. Late that night, Patricia couldn't sleep. She saw Nyla sitting quietly beside her, holding a warm towel, her eyes carefully watching her every move. For the first time, she felt warmth and devotion from the girl she once thought unworthy of her son. The dim bedside lamp reflected on Nyla's face, and Patricia couldn't help but ask softly, Why are you doing all this for me, Nyla? I've never been kind to you, Nyla looked up, her eyes sparkling, her sincere voice echoing in the quiet night. "Because I know you're important to Alex, and because I understand the fear of facing helplessness and loneliness. I've been through that. You don't have to thank me. I just want to help." Those words struck Patricia's heart, causing the wall she had built around it to begin to crack. She realized that despite all the prejudices and differences, Nyla was a person full of compassion and empathy, values she had never noticed before. The next morning, when the snowstorm subsided and the medical staff finally reached the house, Patricia sat up in bed, watching Alex and Nyla busy cleaning and taking care of the house. The girl she once considered a stranger was now the one who had stood by her in her most vulnerable moment. Feeling a profound change within her, she softly called Nyla, her voice choked with emotion. "Nyla, thank you for being there for me. I was too stubborn. I never gave you a chance to explain, to understand who you truly are." Nyla smiled gently, her eyes brimming with tears, and simply shook her head. For her, this was the first sign of acceptance she never thought she would receive from Patricia. Alex watched silently, his heart filled with hope and emotion. He understood that this might be the turning point. They had been waiting for the turning point to reconcile his love and his family's acceptance. Although the journey ahead was still full of challenges, with this change he believed they could move forward together with a renewed hope for the future.